So I have returned from whence I came to do the next story arc for Digimon Adventure from the 90s. And right off the bat, this arc is not my favorite. For starters, it's shorter than the last one, but it's got a lot more moving parts than that one did. So already uphill fight. Now, this is the part that really hurts. The first episode and the last episode of this arc also have nothing to do with this arc. And that's an even higher uphill fight. Because this arc, of course, opens with right where the last one ended. Rock Shift's hologram old man. His name is Genai, and he's here to help. That's really all the story we get out of the guy. To fight the ultimate evil that the Digidestined have to deal with, they have to find their tags and crests. Now, each one of them will have the same tag, but each one of them will have a different crest. The issue is the crests were hidden by Devimon somewhere, so can't find those because he's dead. And the crests are on the continent of Server, which is on the other side of the ocean, and no idea where those are. Keep in mind that excluding the first episode that this is and the last episode that has nothing to do with any of this, that's only about 6 or 7 episodes to this arc. Wow. Being told that up front already tells you that this is going to get very speedrun style. And it does. It really, really does. Because this first episode opens with a fetch quest being dropped on them, and then good luck. So they instantly, let's do this, start building a raft. And one nice moment, I gotta give it to this, I gotta at least say something nice. All the various friendly Digimon that they've helped over the course of the Devimon arc show up, help them build a raft. I really like that. It's interesting. It shows that what they did matters. And that's always something I really enjoy in stories. Where it starts going a little bit left is they go out to sea on their brand new raft, and like a minute and a half, 2 minutes later, it is smashed up because there's an evil whale Digimon who swallows them. Okay, that kind of came out of nowhere. But on the other hand, I also really like it because it tells us they're not safe, even on the water. But lo and behold, it's just another black gear. They break it, and now Waymon, I guess, is their friend. We're cool, yay, go us. So he instantly takes them to an underwater cavern where they find the tags. And free the last Digimon we're going to ever see who's got a black gear in him. I don't like that they just kind of were there. That they just kind of found them so fast. It would have been nice for them to actually find them in some other way, like actually going on a quest, but what are you going to do? I also don't really see why there were more black ears. We've already run through that story arc, and then they're just going to pop up in this one episode, and now they're gone. The idea of controlling Digimon doesn't really come up again in this season. So, I don't really get it. But Waymon takes him to the continent, and let's do this. Now, this first episode is actually really good, because they come across a village. Agumon says it smells like there are other different Digimon that live here, but it's only this type of Digimon that lives here. Can't piece it together, only to find out that they were captured, the new guys moved in, to look specifically for the Digidestined, because they work for Edamon, this season's big bad, and his design-wise, I like him. He looks like a little sock monkey that came to life, and he's energetic, and I do enjoy energetic villains. I like Devimon because he was dark, mysterious, and evil. Edamon is energetic and just kind of bouncing off everything, and I really enjoy that idea. Where it falls apart is directly after that, because he sucks as a villain. He is absolutely terrible. The only time he ever confronts them is the beginning of the arc in this episode and the end of the arc. And right up front, he faces off with Greymon and Garurumon and uses some technique called the Dark Network. Now, it's been mentioned he controls the Dark Network, but we never really know what it is. Is it just like a weird mafia type thing for Digimon? Like, they all work for him? Or is it the various lines that are running under all the sand? Because the continent's evidently mostly desert. I don't know why. Because he controls them, but then he also uses this attack, which raises them out of the sand and seems to drain Digimon's powers, which we never see again, by the way. Like, he's only actually uses 2 attacks. One is the Dark Network, which seems to drain energy, and one is like an energy ball. I love energy ball attacks. I'm a big Dragon Ball fan. I like Naruto. I get it. But he's just not used. But good news is Tai manages to find his crest, so yay. Like, we're getting somewhere. We just happen to come across it. And spoiler alert, that's how they're going to find the next 5. Is just, oh, there it is. And I hate that. I hate that so bad. For a fetch quest, if you can build it right, it's great. But they don't. This feels a lot like you're playing an open world video game, and hey, go and get me this flower, go and get me a pine cone, go and get me a bag of flour, go get me this. Okay, and then you just look on your map, and it's there, it's there, it's there, it's there. That's how this season plays out, and it shouldn't. This arc should have been very much massive. This should have been a 15-episode arc minimum, just to give it enough breathing room for this to work. But because it's so fast, so condensed, it hurts. It hurts really bad. Now, what doesn't hurt is the character work for Tai. Tai has 3 really good, really good moments in this arc. And one is this, because now he has his crest. Agumon can digivolve even further, which is awesome. The problem is that it instantly goes to his head. The worry. He's so afraid that he's not going to be able to keep everybody safe, to do what's necessary, that he pushes Agumon in the middle of a fight. You've got to digivolve. You've got to do this. This is what we're here for. This is what everybody's counting on us. And it puts so much strain on Agumon that he's just nervous, he's afraid, he's anxious. So that when Edamon dumps a trap on him where everybody gets stuck except for Agumon, he's got to digivolve and fight another Greymon, and he's just getting knocked over. Because Tai has stuffed so much food down his throat, he can't even move. So he's literally getting bounced from one corner to the next. And that is terrible. That's really bad. But then he does digivolve, because Tai literally throws himself right in the middle of harm's way, because he thinks, oh, that's how they're going to digivolve. He's full of food, he's got energy, now I just have to be in danger, which isn't how it works at all. I've already touched on it. It wasn't so much that they were in danger, it was the realization of the Digimon, I've got to do this. It was them stepping up. But here, he's completely forced the hand, so when Greymon digivolves into his ultimate form, he actually becomes Skull Greymon. And I love Skull Greymon. He looks really good. He's not my favorite, but he is so massive he can palm Greymon. And he's just a skeleton he's a kaiju skeleton with a rocket on his back. It's very simple, but I like it. And he just takes out the Greymon, walks his way through all of the Digidestins, Digimon that try to slow him down, but luckily he runs out of gas and turns back into his in-training form. So this instantly shakes everybody, especially Tai and Agumon. Because now they got Tai's worried because he did this. He pushed Agumon to such a degree that this bad thing happened, and it's made clear. Now this is the part where you kind of got to look into it from a different side, because again, in Japan it was for all ages. In America it's just for kids, so they had to really dial it down. But it's made pretty clear. Skull Greymon had wanted to hurt the Digidestined. There's nothing on this earth, or the digital world, that they could have done to stop him. He walked right through everything they threw at him, and it was just the fact he ran out of gas as he was leaving that saved the day. So that's remarkably interesting right there. And that would shake anybody. So now Agumon's worried, and everybody else is like, wow, that was something. Wow. How are you going to deal with that? The very idea of that you almost got taken out by a friend. That's a hard thing to deal with. And they don't dwell on it too much. They focus mostly on Tai and Agumon having to deal with it for an episode. Because the next episode, by the way, they came across Joe's Crests too. So they found that in the ground. It's plot contrivance theater, and I hate it. But next episode, they meet Piximon, who's supposed to be a Digimon trainer, and he takes Tai and Agumon to do a little bit of training, kind of get their heads back together. And Matt and Izzy find their crests in a well. At least on this one, they weren't lying. They were just like, yeah, we're just going to throw two of them together, deal with it then. It's bad. But Tai and Agumon managed to get their heads back together, and we set off once again after a measly attack by Edamon's Digimon, which is taken care of. Yeah, again, it feels so much like they try to phone everything in. The next episode is arguably even worse, because it's literally just a monster of the week. I don't think Edamon shows up. Mimi finally finds her crest at the end. And the only thing interesting about this, and it's even something I remember 20 years later, is that the Digimon is an evil chicken who can turn people to stone. That's his power, and I am kind of in love with it. He's a zany character, but I dig the ability. Even all these years later, that's something I really remember. But we've got 5 now, which means we've only got 2 left. And once you know it, TK finds his pretty much right off the bat in the next one. Yay. But we're almost at the end. Somebody has contacted Izzy having Sora's crest, the last one. Buddy who needs help. They just needs to get out of prison where Edamon has put him. So, let's do this. But Izzy is doing a little bit more calculating in a temple that looks like the Sphinx, and I kind of don't get it, but I love it. But he postulates, anyway, that there are now 2 copies of them. There's one in the real world that's still going on with their life, and then there's the digital copy. So this instantly goes to Ty's head that he doesn't have to worry about anything anymore. He's a file in a game. And that would be interesting if they kind of went with that, the kind of existential thing you could do across the group, except nobody does anything else. It's just Ty. And so he's very cocksure, caution to the wind. To such a degree that's scaring everybody else. Because he'll just walk through a wall that there's only one point where you can go through without getting killed. And he just walks right through it because Izzy's pretty sure it's there. Now, all this starts to go out the window when they meet the prisoner, Datamon, who tried to fight Edamon, got his ass kicked, and got thrown in prison. Well, now he wants out, but the moment they get him out, he instantly kidnaps Sora and Biyomon and bounces. Tai finally comes to the realization that, no, you should probably be a little worried about dying, so settle. And he instantly has a crisis. He can't do it because he's so afraid he's going to mess up now. Everything has kind of come crashing down on him. Before, they didn't know what was up. They knew this was the digital world. Are they really real? What's happening? And so everything was kind of left in a gray area where it's better to play with caution. Then he hears, oh, well, we might just be digital copies. We don't matter. And instantly, he's free. He's free from all of this tension he's been feeling. Don't have to worry about it. But now that it's really real, now that it's concrete, yeah, we exist, it all crashes in on him. Which I really think is interesting. And then we get to technically the last episode of the arc, but it's the second to last episode I'm going to touch on. They got to get Sora back. Edamon's brought his forces. It's a no-holds-barred. So half the team breaks in to get her, half the team stays outside. Well, unfortunately, Edamon gets in and ends up having to fight Gabuterimon, while Tai and Agumon try running in. They do manage to save Sora. They stop Datamon's plan. Edamon comes crashing through the wall, having beat Kabuterimon down hardcore, because we've already seen Edamon go toe-to-toe with champions fist to fist, and again, they didn't hold a candle. And unfortunately, it doesn't get much better from there. They manage to get out. Tai overcomes his fears, and Edamon and Datamon fall into a weird server network, is what they call it. It's basically just a bunch of black cables that are now starting to suck in everything like a black hole. And even Digimon, when they fall in, they just get atomized instantly. But the good guys get out. Pyramid that they're in collapses in on itself, and Edamon is now fused to this black, coily wire construction. So he's bigger, he's badder, he's here to fight. And Tai finally says, no, we got to fight this guy. We got to do it. We got to stop him here and now, or he's going to end up sucking in everybody. Well, him and Greymon go charging in, and it triggers his crest, which allows Greymon to digivolve into Metal Greymon. And I don't like his design. Like, all of the other Ultimate levels that we're going to see from the Digidestined, I dig all of them. But his feels the laziest. Because it's just a metal arm, a metal chest plate that fires rockets. So I will give a point. Rockets are awesome. A metal faceplate, and weird, tattered, wing-looking things on his back. Now, I will give you, he gets a lot bigger. So I like that they do kind of stick with that thing a little bit. But that's it. It feels very lazy. And that's... It feels very much more like a Pokemon evolution than a Digimon Digivolution. But they beat Edamon, he's gone, but it leaves a weird black hole type deal which sucks Tai and Agumon in, and then it closes. He's gone. But he woke up in the real world. And this is the episode that is the weirdest one of the bunch. Because the animation, the artwork are all crisp. The backgrounds for the show up to this were kind of watercolors. They didn't need to be anything fancy. This feels like it's a real modern day anime because of just how good it's done. Now, I have no idea why it's like this. One idea I think is why is that this was from possibly just a special or even a movie. Now, things like One Piece or My Hero will have movies that kind of tie into the show, which they're not technically canonical with the source material, but they work in. You throw in a couple of filler episodes, the movie will come next, and then you never mention the movie after that. I feel like that's where this came from. But somehow perhaps Saban Studios, when they saw it, they decided, hey, let's just put it in. It's technically canonical, so it'll work. Because we're not gonna release this as a movie or a special or anything. We're just gonna make it an episode. That's what I think it is. I don't know. But it feels so much like that because the animation is just ridiculously good. It takes you completely out of the story because it feels so big to be one episode. But it is. But Tai is back in the real world, and it's the same day he left. The very same day they went to the digital world. But he's home. He's in his hometown, instantly goes home. Parents aren't there, but his sister Kari is. Now, Kari is a TK's age, but she instantly knows who Koromon is, which is instantly throws Tai for a loop. Because how does she know Koromon? And another thing that they kind of drop later is that she's been to the digital world before, but she hasn't. There's another, in the Digimon movie, that I'm sure I'll get to, it's actually shown that a Koromon arrived 4 years earlier, and that's how she knows who Koromon and Agumon are. She's never really been to the digital world before, but she knows who Koromon is. Yeah, it doesn't work here, but on the other hand, they didn't know how far this was going to go. So it's kind of trying to keep up, but not knowing how things were going to change in the future. I don't like it, but I'm willing to forgive it, because this was late 90s, so being able to dub shows wasn't so good. They didn't wait for the show to really finish to get a full scope of the ideas and the concepts. They were just kind of, here's an episode, write it, here you go. Here's another episode, write it, go. So I think that hurts this one more than anything else. And everything's good. Tai's happy to be back, but he eventually finds out his friends aren't back either. And then he gets a message from Izzy. Now, what's really interesting about this is this does come in later, because we see Izzy, headphones, very blank expression saying, Tai, don't come back. No, in danger, don't come back. All this. Warning him, don't, wherever you are, stay there. And Tai's like, nah, I gotta go. I gotta find a way to go get my friends back. Which is another really good, his last really good moment in this arc, is he is fully embracing being a hero. He doesn't have to go back. He is home, he is safe, he is secure, but he's got to go back. Well then, thankfully, Digimon start appearing all over the place. Now, normal people can't see them, so the idea is that maybe only people who've been to the digital world can see them. Like, they're kind of starting to bleed through. Agumon has a little fight with an Ogremon, but they got to go back. Light shines down. Tai and Agumon go back, but he does promise his sister that he'll come back and he'll bring the others. So I like how that ended. I like how they kind of ended this arc with Tai really finally stepping into a leadership type role. The Devimon arc really didn't do that too much. They kind of built everybody together. But Tai really got a lot of focus in this arc. Nobody else did. Now, I have to point out that Matt didn't really get anything built on him, but they also didn't regress him either. At no point in this arc was he focusing on his brother. He'd finally grown to a point where he trusted his brother to make the right decisions. He trusted the others to make the right decisions. That nobody was going to turn on him. Nobody was going to cast his brother aside for their own sake. They're here for each other. And I like that. I really appreciate that, because that being Matt's entire shtick for the last arc sucked. I hated it. I'm still not a fan of it even right now. But I really enjoy that. Everybody else was just kind of there. They were set decoration at best. And I don't like it. It feels weak considering how we kind of built everybody up. Everybody had a really good, strong foundation after the last arc. And to just kind of be there here. Now, with larger casts, that's easy to do. But usually in other series like Naruto or Bleach, you just don't see the character. They don't have 50 characters all standing in a room for 10 episodes and nobody matters. Now, there are, of course, some episodes that do, but those are usually much more bigger events. This one didn't feel like a big event at all. The biggest event of the arc was the fetch quest, and by the time Matt and Izzy find theirs in a well, you've already got a pretty good idea that they're just shoveling through it. They don't care. And I cannot say I love this arc. I can't say I dig it. Everything with Tai, gold. The idea of the crests, I like it. Because we already know Digivolving takes energy. It takes some stuff. So having another, basically MacGuffin. Alright, it's nothing bad, but we've already seen it in the show anyway with the Digivices. Edamon was a load. He was not well handled. Devimon had a leg up because we didn't even meet him till 2/3 of the way through the arc. And he was menacing, ridiculously powerful, and he kept being powerful. They didn't drop his power level the next episode. Edamon never felt as powerful as he did in the first episode. So I can't really say I love this too much. But having said that, it sets up what comes after. So I do like that. The last arc really didn't. Now granted, you can even put the first episode here in the last arc. I didn't. Just because this one kind of sets up the search and all that for the tags and the crests. So I felt right putting it here. The last episode here, again, could even go on the next arc. Because it doesn't have too much to do with Edamon. It doesn't have too much to do with the following arc. But it felt right to put it here just because the next arc is massive. I think it might be the biggest arc in this season. And it's definitely probably my favorite. Because it deals with a lot of really good stuff. So much so that when I think about the arc that's coming, it just makes this arc that much worse. But everything being said, I don't particularly hate it with any malicious intent. They tried it, and a lot of things just kind of fell through. Both from trying to shovel too much plot through the furnace as fast as they could, not paying things off, not doing a lot of character work for most of the cast. So, but with all that being said, I'm Rob. Take it easy.